Hello, and today we will be reading the final book in the series, and I'm very sad for this series to end. This is book number 14, but they are very old, and I believe they're out of print. So yeah, unfortunately we didn't get to read every single one of them, but we did get to read most of them, like the makeover party, the animal adventure, the Halloween parade, the big race, the talent show, and the Christmas stories. And there will be because it was 2 books in one, so the second part of the book will be out this year in December. So unfortunately we didn't get to read every single one in the series, but we will be ending with Hello Kitty and Friends. So the magazine mix up. So on the back it says, "Come and join Hello Kitty and Friends. Hello Kitty and her friends are back at school, and they are working together to create the best school magazine ever. But can that help them when there's a giant magazine mix-up?" So this is such like a cute little book with heartwarming stories, and yeah, perfect for things like this. So in the book we have Hello Kitty, Minnie, Tammy, Fifi, Dear Daniel, Mama, Papa, Grandpa, and Grandma. And we are back at 6 chapters for this book. The last couple of books there was only 5 chapters, but there's 6, so should be able to do 2, 2, 2. So should be able to get 3 videos out of this one. So chapter 1, Back to School. Hello Kitty swiveled around in the chair and waved at Mama and her sister Minnie. They were sitting on the side in the gloss and gleam hair salon, waiting their turn while Hello Kitty had her hair cut. The hairdresser sprayed Hello Kitty's hair with water, and then snip, snip, snip. Hello Kitty couldn't wait to see what she would look like. She was sure her new haircut would be totally super. Hello Kitty was holding a shoebox on her lap. She took a little peek inside. Wrapped in tissue paper were a pair of perfect black shoes with little bows on them. They were for school, and Hello Kitty loved them. She put the lid back down. She really wanted to try them on again, but Mama had said she had to wait. The start of school was only 2 days away. Hello Kitty let out a happy sigh. Getting back to school where she got to be with all her friends again. What could be better than that? Fifi, Dear Daniel, and Tammy were her very best friends. Together with Hello Kitty, they made up the Friendship Club. They met after school and in the holidays to do all sorts of fun things like baking, arts and crafts, having makeovers, and making up mottos about friendships. After the haircut, Hello Kitty was meeting up with them all at the ice cream parlour. Hello Kitty swung back around. The haircut was nearly finished now. The hairdresser turned to Mama White and asked if she would should she cut off any more. Mama White looked at Hello Kitty, but Hello Kitty said that she thought that it was short enough. She still wanted to be able to put her hair bow in it. She always wore a hair bow on the left-hand side of her head, and her twin sister Minnie always wore one on the right, so people could tell them apart. Mama chuckled and agreed as the hairdresser spun Hello Kitty back round to dry. Her hair. Brightly coloured fish of all shapes and sizes swam around in the fish tank in front of her. They were orange fish that Hello Kitty knew were clownfish, and stripy fish and bright blue fish. But there was also a little black sucker fish. The hairdresser told Hello Kitty that he was called Jaws and that he cleaned the tank. Struggling to see him on the picture. As the haircut finished, Hello Kitty looked in the mirror feeling pleased. Her hair looked just right. She jumped down from the chair and the hairdresser let her choose a sticker. It was hard to decide, but eventually Hello Kitty settled on a pink and purple butterfly. She stuck it on her dress and waited as Minnie took her turn. Hello Kitty sat down next to Mama as the hairdresser started to cut Minnie's hair. Snip, snip, snip. While she waited, Hello Kitty picked up a magazine and started to flick through the pages. She loved reading books, but she also loved looking through magazines about all the different things like fashion and beauty and travelling. She liked looking at all the different outfits and the photos, and they always had interesting articles too. Just then, Hello Kitty sat up quickly. The magazine had given her an idea. She got out her notebook and started to jot some things down, smiling to herself. Mama White asked what she was doing, but Hello Kitty told her that it was a surprise and that she would tell everyone at the ice cream parlour. Mama White smiled. She knew all about Hello Kitty's surprises. They were always really good fun. Minnie's haircut was soon finished, so she and Hello Kitty said thank you to the hairdresser. Mama White paid and they made their way to the ice cream parlour. They pushed back the doors and Hello Kitty rushed in to greet her friends, who were sitting around a large table with a red and white tablecloth. Fifi's mother had brought dear Daniel and Tammy as well as Fifi, but was off to do a bit of shopping now that Mama White had arrived. She waved goodbye. When she had gone, Mama asked them all what they wanted. Fifi said that she would like a tutti frutti surprise. Dear Daniel wanted a banana split, and Tammy settled on a double raspberry ripple cone with sprinkles. Hello Kitty and Minnie both wanted the same, chocolate chip sundaes. Mama White smiled as she ordered the ice creams, and they all chatted excitedly. Hello Kitty was still clutching her notebook, but she waited patiently to hear everyone's news before she started to speak. Eventually it was her turn, and she told them that she had a brilliant idea. It had come to her while she was at the hairdresser. She thought that the Friendship Club needed a back-to-school project to work on. Her friends all looked at her eagerly. What was she going to suggest? Hello Kitty grinned. How about they start their very own magazine, a school magazine? They all loved reading magazines. How much fun would it be to actually write one too? Hello Kitty held her breath as she waited to hear what her friends thought of her. The idea would friends thought of her idea. Would they like it? She let out her breath with a whoosh and smiled as the others all started talking at once. They all thought it was an amazing, super idea. They decided they would all have their own jobs on the magazines. They would have a meeting to pick which ones. But first things first, they could see a waiter coming in their direction carrying a big tray of ice cream sundaes. The Friendship Club had some easing to do. Chapter 2. The School Magazine. After a mouth-watering 10 minutes of everyone eating their ice creams and tasting each other's sundaes, Hello Kitty opened her notebook. Minnie had slipped off to another table with Mama to read her book. She would have loved to help with the magazine, but she didn't think she would have time that term. She had a flute exam at the end of it, and after school was taken up with some practicing for it, but of course the Friendship Club didn't mind. They were sure that they would be able to manage on their own. Dear Daniel said that he thought that Hello Kitty should be the main editor, seeing as it had been her idea to put together the magazine in the first place. But she would do her own pages too. Tammy and Fifi totally agreed. And how about if dear Daniel was the sports reporter, seeing as he was really into football and other sports? He could also be the photographer, as he knew a lot about that too, as his dad did that for his job. Dear Daniel grinned and agreed. What about Fifi? She could be a designer, as she was good at art and drawing. Fifi nodded. So that just left Tammy. Tammy thought hard and said that she would like to do some games and puzzles pages. But she'd also like to do a poetry page as well, because she loved reading and making up poems. Which one should she choose? Hello Kitty suggested that perhaps she didn't have to choose at all. They were both such good ideas, why didn't she do both? Tammy beamed. It was all coming together. The friends decided they would tell their class teacher, Miss Davy, about it at school first thing tomorrow. Hopefully she would think it was a good idea too. The next day, Hello Kitty stood in the playground with Minnie. Little butterflies were spinning around in her tummy. She felt so excited to be starting school again after the holidays, and she couldn't wait to get to spend every day with her friends again. She waved Minnie off and set off down the corridor. She couldn't help smiling as she skipped into the familiar classroom and saw her teacher and all her friends. As Hello Kitty sat down at her table with dear Daniel, Tammy, and Fifi, Miss Davy gave them some paper and explained that she would like each person in the class to write about something they would like to achieve before the school ended for the year. As she came round the classroom and looked over each of their shoulders, it gave the Friendship Club the chance they needed to tell Miss Davy about their idea. Miss Davy smiled as she listened. She thought their idea was excellent. Nobody had done a school magazine for ages, and if the Friendship Club were able to put it together, then she would be happy to photocopy it for them so it could be available to all the students. Hurrah! After that, Hello Kitty couldn't wait for school to finish so they could get to work straight away. The first thing she wanted to do was to put together an office. All good newspaper and magazine places had an office. As soon as she got home that afternoon, Hello Kitty hurried around getting things ready. The others had checked with her parents if they could come round and would be there soon. Hello Kitty hopped excitedly from foot to foot as she waited for them. Fifi was the first to be dropped off, but dear Daniel arrived not long after that, and then Tammy too. Hello Kitty led them into the office she had made in the dining room and pulled out the table. She had decided it was going to be the main desk for them to have their magazine meetings. But she had also got some big cardboard boxes and chairs for each of them so they could have their own desk too. Finally, she pulled out a box of stationery and said that they could all choose what they wanted for their pages. Inside there were stickers, paper, sparkly stars, and glitter pens. Everyone took what they needed to their desks. Hello Kitty thought what they should or spend some time on their own, thinking up ideas, and then they could meet at the table to discuss what should go in the magazine. It would be like a proper newspaper office. They all nodded, and then the room was quiet as everyone got to work. Hello Kitty sat down on her own desk and chewed on her pencil. As she tried to think of ideas, she pulled out some of Mama's magazines to help her. She knew what she wanted to do. Something on clothes and fashion, and maybe a recipe for a homemade lotion or perfume as well. She looked over at dear Daniel. He was filling his paper with notes. Tammy had her head down, equally as busy, and Fifi was drawing all sorts of things over her pages. The room was a hive of activity. Hello Kitty turned back to her own paper just as there was a knock at the door. It was Mama White with a big jug of lemonade and some brownies. Yummy, Hello Kitty poured everyone a drink and suggested they talk about their ideas while they ate. So dear Daniel asked to start first. Hello Kitty quietly told everyone what she wanted to do for her clothes and fashion idea. She thought that she would like to do an article on how to jazz up a pair of jeans. Everyone nodded. It was a very good idea. Hello Kitty said that she was also going to do a beauty article too, about they put in their recipes for heavenly hair. The homemade beauty treatment she had made with Fifi and Tammy. It would fit in perfectly. As everyone smiled, Fifi lifted up her sheet of paper because she was the designer for the magazine. She had a logo for the cover. Around where the title of the magazine would be, she had put lots of gold stars. The others all loved it. But what was the title going to be? Tammy had an idea. Since they were all making it together and having fun, why didn't they call it Fun and Friendship? Perfect. Everyone grinned at Tammy and patted her on the back. Tammy went pink and quickly explained that she had made a start on her poetry page and puzzles too. Dear Daniel had made a list of all the sports he would like to cover and the games coming up. At school, things were looking good. Hello Kitty took a sip of her lemonade. They all had lots of ideas, but what they really needed was something they could do as a main article, something that would be the main piece for the magazine. I'm so sorry about that. If I picked it up, she's so loud. The friends all fought hard. Then Fifi jumped up. How about they wrote something on the new farm park, Bramble Farm Park? It had just opened not far away, and she knew that they were looking to get more people to go. If they wrote a story about it, it might help everyone. Loved animals, didn't they? very cute pictures. That was it. They would ask their parents if they could go and visit it that very weekend. A friendship club trip out. What could be better than that?